This is going to be a little bit of a different type of video. There's just been a lot of stuff that's been going through my head that I'm trying to get out. You have stuff happening around Tesla pricing, rather the stock price. None of this video is going to be investment or financial advice, but it is fascinating how now you have analysts coming out and giving huge upgrades to the stock. Somebody gave a 71% upgrade up to $548 per share from Baird, Ben Callow, from about $320 up to $548. Then that same person said that if Tesla and Elon Musk can achieve all the operational milestones in his newly proposed pay package, Tesla's market cap could hit upwards of $12 trillion or $3,000 per share. It's just a lot of pretty insane stuff happening this week. This is something that we've been covering very closely on the channel. If you've been a longtime watcher, you've known that, we've put out, I personally have put out, sort of stock price models for the long term, down, over to 2035, some insane numbers out there, 20, 30, 40 trillion market caps for the company. I got made fun of a lot for that stuff for a long time. But I think people are starting to realize that perhaps it's not that unreasonable, right? I could be very wrong on where we end up, but the direction of where we're going as a society from an AI perspective and a automation perspective and Tesla's long-term potential and Elon Musk and AI companies, right? There's just so many different things happening. There's a force going towards this end state. And so I've been putting in a lot of thought about this end state and what it looks like. I think my conversation with Steve Jurvetson this week, I'll have a link for that in the description below, in the comment section below, was one that really started to crystallize a lot of things for me. And, thinking about Tesla specifically, I'll sort of get started there because there's just so many things to think through. Given that human and robots are going to be inevitable, right? Now that people are starting to jump on the bandwagon for robotaxi and seeing that that's going to happen, anybody who's had any serious time behind a Tesla vehicle with FSD will tell you that this is going to happen. The release in Australia on a brand new market for FSD, where drivers in Australia are raving about the performance of the vehicle. In a brand new area, right-hand drive, opposite side of the road, brand new signals. The car is driving itself almost anywhere already. And this is the first version of this. This is before the release of the newest version of V14, Tesla FSD V14, which is going to take the self-driving to the next level. All of these things point to a physical AI product that's going to be able to operate autonomously. And so if you put it in a humanoid form factor, what this means is that you're going to have a thing that's going to help you put things together that a human would, but instead it's going to be a robot. It's going to be able to pick things up and put them down. It's going to be able to build things. It's going to help you build things. It's going to do your chores for you. It's going to deliver food for you. It's going to shop for you. It's going to work in a factory. It's going to work in a warehouse. There's just so many different things for people to be able to use human or robot for. Entire municipalities are going to purchase this thing. Places like Dubai are probably going to buy thousands of robots just to have available as a convenience for their citizens and people that visit the city. Since they're such a rich country, oil-rich country, people pay no taxes in Dubai, and they can afford 10,000 humanoid robots just walking around and helping people, or whatever, 100,000. So the United States very well could happen. High GDP areas, Austin and New York and all these rich cities are probably going to have access to this stuff eventually. The forcing function is going to be too great. And then if you just think about the colonization of Mars, right? Colonization of Mars and getting people out to Mars, which I know for a lot of people might sound insane, but it's going to happen because we have a person that has created the technology to make it happen with SpaceX, and an entire team of people, I should say, that have made it happen with reusable rockets and Starship. And we're going to need people to go out to Mars and make stuff happen. Not just people, but like robots, right? To make stuff happen because there's no atmosphere in Mars. And if you have a embodied sort of this product that can work as a human would to build things and put things together, or at least move things, then it becomes very obvious that a human or robot, it's going to be the thing that's going to build out Mars to start at the very least. So what does that mean? That means that you're going to have at least one customer in SpaceX that's going to be buying tens of thousands of human or robots from Tesla to stick in these starships to send them to Mars to start building, right? And where's SpaceX going to get that money from? SpaceX is going to get that money from Starlink, this internet company that has satellites everywhere that beams internet to freaking anyone on Earth, basically. The money from that thing is going to be used to buy the robots to put on Mars. You're going to have at least one huge customer to adopt a humanoid robot. And that's going to allow a company like Tesla to spool up the manufacturing system to bring the cost down for the robots so that more people can have access to them or more companies can have access to them. So that companies that are in warehousing or in manufacturing can start buying these robots at a much lower price, because now you have SpaceX in some way subsidizing Tesla's ability to bring the cost down to build humanoid robots. And once those companies start adopting humanoid robots, it becomes more and more obvious, just like with the self-driving car with the robotaxi, it's going to become much more obvious to a lot of people to say, okay, if I don't adopt this technology, I'm going to be essentially left behind, because the robot's going to be able to do what a regular person would at a fraction of the cost, right? If humans getting paid $20, $30 an hour to do something, a human or robot is going to be able to do it at $5 an hour, $4 an hour, $3 an hour equivalent, because the cost of building this human or robot long-term, 1 million, 2 million, 5 units per year, 5 million units per year rather, it's going to be like $20,000 per robot, $30,000 per robot, but that's a one-time cost. For a human, you have to pay them every hour they work, every year they work. With a robot, you pay an upfront cost, and then that robot can work for years. And so the per year cost of, let's say, a $50,000 robot over 10 years or 5 years, it's anywhere between $5,000 to $10,000 a year. That's a fraction of what you would have to pay a human. And then that robot can work 24 hours a day, minus charging and maintenance, right? So call it 20 hours a day, whatever you want to call it. But that's at least twice as long as a human, because a human typically works 8 hours a day. Not to count lunch, not to count breaks, smoke breaks, right? Humans need rest. Humans need to unplug, literally. And not only that, but they're also don't have to work on the weekends, right? A lot of people work 40 hours a week. They don't work every day. And so a human can work 20 to 22 hours, 24 hours a day, or a robot rather can do that. And then they can also work the weekends. So you have this package that can work all the time. And as the AI brain gets better, it can do more things. And then as it learns to do more things, all the robots learn that, because it's just basically like the Matrix. You just upload that capability to all the robots. And now instead of having one person that's very good at being a very good, let's say, factory worker or warehouse worker, every robot in the fleet will be a very good warehouse worker or factory worker. And all Tesla has to do, or a robot company has to do, is just manufacture more of these robots. They just have to do more of these robots. That's it. It gets to a point where it opens up a lot of like fascinating thought experiments, If you get to a point where it costs $20,000 to build a robot, and you have the capacity of building these, millions of units per year, a company like Tesla could set up an incentive of sorts that says, hey, if you work at a company long enough, let's say, we'll give you a robot for free. 4 years, get this robot for free. Or it makes it very easy for Tesla to partner with municipalities or local governments to say, hey, we have, we can give you 100 robots. We can donate 100 robots or whatever to those local governments. And those local governments can start putting them to work to revitalize, let's say, communities that have been left behind or are suffering from a lot of the issues we've had as a society from the last 50, 60 years. We all know most cities in the United States, most communities in the United States have a portion of those communities that need help, right? Not just like financial help, but like physical help. Literally, like the buildings are falling apart. Roads are falling apart. There needs to be help to make these societies better. These little pockets in civilization need help. All of a sudden you have labor that can be manufactured at a very low cost to go in and help those communities. There's going to be different organizations that theoretically could be able to fund these fleets of robots and send them to places where they need the help. And all this is just very, very interesting to me because, initially the discussion has been, will the future like this actually exist? One of the reasons why I follow Tesla so closely is because it's one of the very few companies, at least it has been in the past, and now it seems like the momentum is picking up, that was making a pretty wild future possible through technology. And now, at least to me, and again, I don't want this to be any financial or investment advice, I truly don't, but I really feel like that future is becoming very crystallized, where we are going to have plentiful self-driving cars that cost 40 cents or less per mile to operate, which is a fourth to a fifth of the cost of hailing an Uber or less. You're going to have humanoid robots being able to do all kinds of work that are going to cost a fraction of what it would for a human. And you'll be able to manufacture these at millions per units per year. It's going to take a long time, but we'll get there for sure. And so now the conversation, from my standpoint, I'm starting to shift it from, will this actually happen, to, okay, what are now the second and third order effects of having a society where plentiful human labor, or I should say plentiful labor in general in the physical space, is becoming prevalent. So think of it as an LLM or a ChatGPT or a Grok or a Gemini that lives in the physical world. All these digital systems, these digital AIs, are helping people with a lot of things digitally and like sort of in their head, asking questions, getting help with information, getting advice, doing research, doing complex tasks in the digital world. Now we're going to have that in the physical world with these embodied devices. The people that are going to have the money to afford these things at first are going to benefit tremendously from this. I think if you watch the channel, you're a Tesla driver, you know, and you have, the latest version of FSD, and you have the latest cars, you probably haven't been driving. Truly, you probably haven't been driving, especially in the United States. And to tell me in the comments if this is accurate or not. Everybody that I talk to that has the latest version of FSD, they're all like, this is crazy. Like, I can't believe I don't actually have to drive. It's quite obvious. So what's going to happen to all the drivers that are going to start losing work because we don't need drivers anymore? What's going to happen to all the factory workers that are going to lose work because we no longer need them to do those tasks because human robots can now do them? These things will definitely create jobs in the long term. They're going to create new sectors. It's going to open up new markets. When the cost of transportation plummets, all of a sudden it becomes easier and cheaper to transport goods from place to place. It becomes easier or cheaper to offer services. It becomes easier or cheaper to bring businesses to you. What's stopping a future where in 10 years time, Tesla, let's say the van, that's this toaster looking thing that Tesla has, right? Just strip out the seats and turn the inside of it into this like unbelievable salon, okay? Or something. The cost of moving that van from point A to point B is going to be pennies on the dollar. And instead of you going to a hair salon to get your hair done, the hair salon just comes to you. It parks on the street, it parks in your driveway, and there's, somebody's running that business out of their vehicle, and the inside of the van is just a salon, and it just comes to you. And so instead of going into trying to buy limited real estate in an area and paying, $5,000 per month in rent, maybe you pay $300 a month in rent or $500 a month in rent for this movable box where you don't even have to go to the business comes to you. And then on the robotaxi app that Tesla has, they can run a special. The business owner in this case can run a special on the app and say, hey, I'll give you 20% off a haircut today, or, whatever I'm doing to your hair. Let's say if you're a woman, you're doing like this. I don't even know why. My wife goes and gets haircuts and I'm like, how much was it? It was $300. Why? Whatever. I don't ask questions, right? But obviously something's being done. Okay, cool. 20% off for you to take this special today. Maybe they have open capacity and right on the app. And then it just subsidizes the cost of the business coming to them. And now all of a sudden this hairstylist doesn't have to wait for somebody to come to their business. They just go to where the demand is. And I'm just using that as one example, but I just want this video to be more of an exploratory sort of like maybe a conversation starter about the world that we're definitely going towards. I've spent the last 3 to 4 years, when did I start this? 2021, almost 4 years. The goal of this channel has been to try and hone in on the probability of a future like this actually happening. And now it's become obvious to me, and again, I could be wrong. Don't take anything I say as gospel. Do your own research. Don't trust me on this. Literally come up with reasons why this can't work on your own and do the work that needs to be done and action based on your knowledge, not mine. But from my standpoint, it's become obvious that this future is coming, is here. And so now the discussion in my head is going to, okay, what does this new world looks like? What does this new world entail? What are the opportunities? What are the downfalls? What are the risks? What are the rewards? What are the societal implications? What are the governmental implications? And so I think this is where the direction of this channel is going from my perspective. Definitely going to still focus on Tesla a lot because they are going to be probably the primary forcing function for this future. It's unavoidable. We have Elon Musk leading the charge. It is unavoidable that he's going to be the world's first trillionaire. It is unavoidable that he's going to be the leader in a lot of these spaces. And it's unavoidable that his influence is only going to grow because of the successes from these businesses. What does that mean for society? What does that mean for the individual? What does that mean for the people that are negatively impacted by this? What does it mean for the people that are positively impacted by this? And what are the sort of like industries that are going to appear from these actions? I think that's where I can bring the most value. And I've been doing a lot of soul searching and like, okay, well, look, how can I bring the most value to the world and ensure that I'm doing whatever I can to create a positive world for my son and my children, hopefully upcoming children, you know? And I think it's to talk about the likeliest things that are bound to happen in this future and trying to be as open-minded about the possibilities as possible, and also being honest about the risks that are tied to that, right? I haven't been shy about talking about the risks of these things. At least I hope I haven't been shy. You know, I think many people that follow me, especially on X and here, they'll be like, oh, sometimes you're such a doomer. I don't know. I think I'm concerned about the bottom 20%. I really am. I think we've seen the stuff with Charlie Kirk and the political violence and stuff. Like, you know, am I optimistic about where we're going to be? Absolutely. Is there risk of an overlap of the sort of subset of the political spectrum that is already disillusioned and angry for whatever reason, and then you're going to layer on top of that disruption to labor? What's the Venn diagram of the people that overlap in that? And what's the chance that those folks are not going to want to play the game anymore? And there's going to be some sort of thing. I have concerns about that because I think that's a legitimate risk. And a lot of times, in a lot of places, that's probably not even their fault. But then you're going to have political movements that are going to try to weaponize that. And they're going to try to take advantage of that, either for right or wrong reasons. That's important to talk about, especially when you have people like, you know, like your Bernie Sanders saying that, you know, Elon Musk getting his wealth is a function of taking from somebody instead of bringing the future forward. Just think about that on steroids. Anyway, I had no idea where this video was going to go from when I started it, but this is where we ended up. And I hope it was informative and made you think. That's literally the only point of this video. So anyway, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Thank you. Bye.